Okay, this is inspecting a what we call a drilled well with a submersible pump. Basically, you have this casing right here. In this case, it's a 8-inch casing, and this casing goes down so far, but the actual hole down here can be much deeper than what this casing goes. This casing is just to protect the hole from collapsing in around the more shallow part of the well. If I look at this tag, I can see that the depth of this well is 370 feet. And if I look at the yield being the amount of water coming into the well, is 6 gallons a minute. And I see here that the casing depth is at 88 feet. So this white pipe goes down 88 feet, and most likely that's where the pump is located, around 88 feet, and that pump simply pumps the water up through this pipe and goes to the bladder tank back in the crawl space in this house, for example. Now, you do want to try to take, if you're going to take a water sample, we like to take it from the wellhead. To do so, you want to make sure there's no anti-siphon bib on here. You can take that off to where you don't have that, so that collects bacteria. And you want to run this water here at the wellhead just for a few minutes before you take the water sample. But basically, you run the water, and then once the water is off, you want to burn with a lighter or small torch this bib, the spout right here, to kill any bacteria that's in these threads. Then you turn the water back on, I would say for a minute. Turn the pressure down so you can get a good water sample, and you just take the water samples right from the wellhead. The other parts of the wellhead are going to be this little cap right here. Basically, most of the time will screw off. Sometimes it's a metal cap, but basically this comes off, and let's see if I can get it to come off. Anyway, once this is off, you can pour any kind of chlorine or whatever you use in the crystalline down the well to sanitize the well. Also, you want to make sure that the conduit is that the cables coming to the well are in a weatherproof, not necessarily weatherproof, but weather resistant type conduit, as well as a weather type box. In this case, they have an actual toggle switch out here to turn the well off and on. So that's pretty much it on the only other thing with the wellhead. You want to make sure it's grouted around the base, and you want to make sure that this wellhead is a minimum of 8 inches from the top of the wellhead to the ground surface. And that's pretty much all you're going to look at as far as the wellhead goes. Okay, here we are at the other half of the well. Previously we just got through talking about the well head. This is the actual bladder tank. In this case, this one looks like about a 20-gallon bladder. Basically, with a bladder tank is just that. It has a bladder inside this tank, and as the water comes into the tank, the bladder fills up, and it keeps even pressure on the house, so the water's not going up and down all the time. Really, the only thing you're going to look at here is first of all, is there any filtration? This is the line coming in here from the well. It comes in here from the ground and goes into the bladder tank. The bladder tank applies the pressure back through this line, through this pressure switch, and into the main line into the house. You want to always check the gauge here to see what kind of pressure you have on the well. In this case, it's looking like it's pushing out at about, well, it looks like at about 52 pounds, which is pretty much right for a well system. This limit switch here just can adjust. You can adjust the pressure on the well. We don't do that, but this is where the pressure on the water system is applied. Then, of course, you got your main water disconnect. We're looking for any kind of leaks in the lines here. And of course, we want to see if there's any filtration here. When you're doing your well evaluation, which is the third part of the well inspection, is you want to run the water for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. And you also want to fill up a basin or something to see if there's any kind of silt in the water, as well as in back of the toilet tank. So we'll go inside and look at that. But in review, you have your wellhead on the outside, and this is the bladder where all the water comes through. And now the third part of the well inspection will be on the interior of the house. Okay, on the third part of the well evaluation, what I want to do is fill up a basin. It can be any basin, and basically I fill it up enough to half, 3/4 full. And I'm going to be looking for any kind of silt, active silt in the bottom of this sink. This is a white one, so it's going to be pretty easy to see. The other area I want to check is behind the toilet. I will pull the water closet lid, and I'll look down into the base, and in this one you can see quite a bit of sand silt in here. All this silt is what comes out of the bottom of the well. So on this particular well, what we're going to do is we'll be recommending some type of cartridge filter, inline filter, before it gets to the house, in order to take out some of that silt. And here I want to turn the water off and look for any silt in the bottom of the sink. This one's pretty clear. However, the sand that's coming out of the well is pretty light, so it's pretty hard to see anyway. And in order to get a good water sample, you want to, or at least on the flow of the well, you want to run the water for a good 15, 20 minutes. I recommend using an outdoor hose bib with a hose hooked up to it, so you don't overtax the septic system. In this case, this had a Whirlpool tub, so I was able to fill this up and run the Whirlpool tub and be able to do the flow test on the well at the same time. And that's pretty much it on the well inspection.